They killed so many of my friends got killed. And I was a little skinny little kid like that, and they're blowing kisses at me, and they're telling me, we're gonna get you. And I told them, you know what? I'm gonna end up dead or in jail. So I got violated, bro. I got a year violation because of that, because I was wanting to see my daughter. So I was like, if the Lord was giving me like a last little chance.
You didn't get the lesson.
I didn't get the lesson, and I got shot and paralyzed soon after that. What's wrong with you? And I told him, I don't know, I think I'm shot. I can't feel my legs. I'm right there and I'm choking on my own blood. I feel like if I'm dying. So I started calling out to Jesus, and I got saved that night. I prayed and I got saved. The Republicans are for the rich whites, and the minorities are for the blacks and Latinos are for the Democrats. So we grow up thinking that automatically, blacks and Latinos. So I was like, okay, I'm a Democrat. The devil has chosen the Democrat Party to push his agenda.
So you remember Clinton era? That wasn't like that.
That's what I told you. It wasn't until Obama was the time when it got all evil. That's what I'm saying. He was the most terrible, evil president in history. I see what happened. How did that work? He didn't care about the blacks. What did he do for blacks? All he cared about was for the gays. Never hear about a Democrat talking about the human trafficking, the rapes, all that, the fentanyl, all that stuff at the border. Those feminists, they don't care about nothing. All they care about is murdering babies, because if they cared about women and all that, why aren't they speaking up? Even that, like a woman just got beat up in the Olympics. Poor women, imagine these young girls are losing scholarships, all that. They're terrorizing women's sports, and yet not one of you feminists are saying a word about it. That's why they have no credibility. They're all fake, hypocrites. They're a joke. Any feminist, they're a joke. What kind of a man wants to be dancing half naked in front of little children? Now you see them grooming your children. Now they're trying to teach critical race theory nonsense, or homosexuality. They're trying to teach kids that. Like they want to teach the LGBT history. Like, is that right? You want to teach history? Then start with Sodom and Gomorrah,
Let me give you a proper introduction, Jesse. So Jesse Holguin co-founded Lexit movement in 2018 after he realized that Latinos were being misinformed and used by the Democratic Party in order to keep their vote and leave them powerless. An ex-gang member who came to Christ after being shot and paralyzed, Jesse was in a unique position to see just how far the left would go to keep Latinos quiet and dependent on the system. Since its inception, Lexit has been moving with a ferocious speed, organizing multiple rallies throughout the nation, attended by hundreds. Additionally, Lexit utilizes its far-reaching social media platforms to host interviews with some of the biggest names in the conservative world, including Diamond and Silk, Tito Ortiz, Ana Paulina, and countless congressmen and women. The work has not gone unnoticed. The Trump administration has invited Jesse 6th time to the White House to attend the events and represent the Latino voice. Lexit has no plans to stop or slow down until all Latinos are educated that they don't have to vote Democrat because the media says so. Jesse is a man of God, and his mission is to help everyone in the world to find the truth in their only Savior, Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. Wow, that was great.
How are you?
Great, brother. Fine. Blessed.
Doing great?
Doing great.
So Jesse, obviously we have lots of topics to cover. I would like to start with the gangs. So I'm obviously a foreigner, right? I'm from Europe, from Lithuania. I want to say all that Lithuanians know about Los Angeles and the gangs of LA is basically right from Hollywood, right? We saw those movies. We know that LA, there are even some areas where even cops don't show up. Is that true?
Maybe it used to be like that, or I don't think so much.
So it's getting better.
It's getting better. The gang activity definitely is getting better, a lot better.
When you left the gang, your gang, when was that?
I never officially left. I just got saved and started going to church. And
what year was that?
What is it right now? Like 2000.
2000. What do you notice in almost 25 years? What has changed? Because you're still in the streets, right? You hear the news, you know all that stuff that's going on.
It's way less. I never even really, and I live in LA. I rarely even see gang members like before, and you don't ever really hear about shootings and things like that. Even on the news, you rarely see gangs. Before, you used to see it all the times, but it's way less. Way less. Like I said, I hardly never see even. I see the writing on the wall, so I know they're still there because I see some of the writing, but I think they even changed the way they dress, and maybe I just don't even notice.
But what has changed? Did they legalize their activities?
No, it's just, I don't know. It isn't like before, I guess, because people are scared of doing time. And I don't even really know what it is. But it's definitely changed. And,
but it's only in LA? Because every time I hear the news from Chicago, it's like 15, 20, 30, 50, 60 people shot during the weekend. That's crazy right there. Yeah. Those are gangs shooting, right?
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. So yeah, over there it is like that. But you're right here in LA, you probably don't ever really hear shootings, gangs, stuff on the news and like that before. And before, it was like every day, especially on weekends. On weekends, even when I was around, we knew people were gonna die every weekend. People were at the parties and things like that. It was bad, but like I said, I never really hear. Once in a while, I hear gunshots and stuff like that, but nothing like it used to be in LA. The gang numbers like that. There's still like killings and things like that, but most of them are probably over like robberies,
yes,
and, arguments and drunk, whatever like that. But gang type shootings, I hardly hear stuff.
Do you think that's because of police? They got their job done?
No, I don't really know what it is. I don't know, because I've been gone from the scene. Because like I said, when I got saved, I just totally got disconnected from that, and I was only focused on the gospel, and then I don't even really even listen to music or anything. I'm just totally focused on the word of the Lord. So I don't really know what did it, brother.
So would you say right now it's safer to live in LA, or it was safer in the early 2000s?
Well, as far as gang-wise, like I said, there's gang, but there's still a bunch of crime. Like I said, now you get robbed.
They go solo?
Yeah, well, gang members, they only going after trying to kill other gang members. They're fighting over rival gangs and territory. So even the blacks, they're over colors, Crips and Bloods, and all that kind of stuff. And then there was even racial tensions with the blacks and Latinos before. But now it's just crime. There's drugs, just robberies, and just the crime. The crime seems to maybe escalated in LA, like it's bad, the crime and all that kind of stuff. But maybe there's still even killings and things like that. But I'm saying the gang killings, like gang on gangs, other gangs killing other gangs like that, that seems to have went down. But there's still crime. There's still a bunch of crime. It seems like the crime is worse.
It's definitely worse. In the last 5 to 7 to 8 years, it's definitely worse. If you only take a look at the Oakland, that's madness. You can't leave a single thing in your car. It's gonna get smashed.
Yeah, like even because a lot to do that was the Proposition 47 that passed, and Kamala was like a champion for that. They made it a misdemeanor to if you get caught stealing under $1,000, it's a misdemeanor.
900.
Isn't it 1,000?
No, 950. Yeah, something like that.
Well, 1,000 basically.
You gotta find a purse that costs up to $1,000.
$900 or something, but that's ridiculous. Luckily that I'm saved now and I ain't a criminal more, because if I was still a criminal, I would have went wild with that. Imagine you could just go in a store and it's still. And that's why the looting has been horrendous all over. Like you said, California, even Oakland, LA, all over. It's horrendous. People are just walking in the stores, grabbing bags full of stuff and just walking out. It's all bad because of all that stuff.
Tell me about your life being a gang member. So I did my homework. You were saying that right from your childhood, your only dream was to become a gang member because your family was almost all gang members, right?
Yeah.
But how so?
How what?
Your mom was in a...
Not my mother, just the men. Just like my father, my uncles, my cousins, my brothers.
And what did your mom say? She was okay with that?
Well, she, I don't know. I don't think my dad was. I don't know. But my mom was never into that. And then Latino mothers are like that. They don't want to see the bad in their children and all that. So she never knew, I don't know, I guess she didn't want to see it because she didn't. I remember when the cops raided my house, when I first went to jail, they raided my house for the 4 shootings and like that. I was 16 years old. And I remember my mother fighting with the cops because they were like, oh, we're arresting your son for these shootings, this and that, gangs. And my mom was fighting with the cops. My son ain't no gang member. My son ain't in no gangs and all that, blah, blah, blah. She was fighting with the cops. And then the cop lifted up my shirt and I had a big old tattoo of my gang on my back. So she looked and she felt stupid. But
she really didn't know.
She was in denial. I guess denial. That's the only thing I could think of. Is that she was in denial because she knew, and then my father didn't know because he wouldn't have let us. My father wouldn't have let us be in gangs and all that. But so what we would do is my dad would be at work all day, and me and my brother would dress all in gangs. But then we'd go to school and all that all day. But then we would run home before my dad got off of work, and we would change. So he never seen us that we were bad because my dad used to whip us, like he used to beat us, you know what I mean? So we were scared of my dad. We were scared, so we never did nothing around him. But my mother used to see, so she would see it. She would buy us the gang clothes, and she would see us dressing gangs and coming home and changing all that. And then plus,
but she thought that was a joke? You were just imitating?
She just didn't want us to get, I don't know what it was. And then we used to be getting in trouble at school. We'd be fighting at school or like doing things, get arrested or whatever things. And she wouldn't tell my dad because she didn't want my dad to hit us or whatever. So she wouldn't tell my dad that, hey, the kids are doing.
Do you think that was a mistake?
Yeah, it was a mistake because by the time my dad found out, it was way too late. It was like we were already too full-blown gone by the time my dad found out. And then once he found out, because he was in gang and he knew all I think my older cousins and all that, they had to talk with my dad and they told my dad, hey, they're already in the gang and all that. So he knew.
But you were in the same gang with your dad?
Yeah, we were in the same gang.
So back to the 90s, how many gangs there were in LA?
Can't even
dozens.
Hundreds. There are so many.
And what did you do? You just steal? You just sell drugs?
Mostly I was for girls. Like, because I remember I used to be a skinny little twerp. I was so skinny little kid. I never really had no girls or nothing like that. But as soon as I got into the gang, I got a bunch of girls. I was popular. So that was like that. And then you get an identity. Like I was a nutty little scrawny little kid.
You belonged
but as soon as I got in the gang, I was so and so and so. And then I had a bunch of homeboys, big crazy guys and all like that. So I liked it that I was a scrawny little kid, but nobody, like I tell a story that I remember my earliest moments. I was in school, right? I was a scrawny little freshman kid, skinny little kid. And there were some big seniors. And they were football jocks, big guys, and they were seniors. And I'm right there, I'm talking to one of my girls, a homegirl, and she started telling something to those guys, right? So they were like, what? And they told her something. And then I remember I started telling them stuff. And they were scared. They were like, like they put their head down. They were scared to tell me something. They were big jock.
Those were whites or Latinos?
They were probably Latinos, maybe, or whatever, but they knew I was a gang member.
I gotcha.
So they were scared, not of me, but my homeboys, and they knew or whatever. So, and I remember I felt that day, I was like, wow, I'm a little scrawny little kid, freshman, and these big jock football guys, seniors, are scared of me. So I liked that. And then just seeing on the streets and everywhere, people were scared. So I liked it like that.
You got the respect.
But in my hood, I don't know, I guess all hoods were different, but in my neighborhood, the people liked it, the gangs, you might say, because we were almost like police officers because we would protect my neighborhood. And then the people in my neighborhood, they knew us all since we were kids. Mm-hmm. We were all playing out there football, baseball, so they knew us since we were kids. And then, so like I said, they knew us, but then we would protect my neighborhood. We wouldn't let people come and rob or
Other gang members?
Yeah, other gang or anybody. If we wouldn't, if we seen somebody trying to steal or break into a car, we would stop them. Like, hey, don't be doing that around in our like. So they would actually, a lot of the people would like us, and they would even like talk to us and things like that. So, but yeah, we would mostly be like that, but we'd fight with our rival gangs, like our enemies. We would do stuff with them, and they do stuff to us. It's always a revolving door. Like, they'll kill one of my homeboys. So
Kill?
They'll kill one of. They killed so many of my friends. Got killed.
At what age did you see the first dead body?
Jeez, that's a good question. I don't even know.
But you were a youngster, right?
Yeah.
16, something like that?
Yeah. I don't know, pretty young, probably like 17.
Was it shocking?
Yeah. Because most of that would, because we would get shot at all the time. Like, literally, like every weekend, we would know we're gonna get shot at. We would know that our enemies, they would come, and it would always, the most dangerous part would be like, let's say we went to a party, me and my brother or whatever, we went to a party or wherever we went, the walk home, the night, because we knew we had to walk home. And when you were in a gang in those days, every single car that drove by was a potential, your life, or the potential would be my enemy. So we would always be walking home, and my enemies, then they was boom.
So basically what they show us in the movies, that's true.
It was true. In the 90s it was. In the 90s, all that stuff you've seen, it was probably even worse than you've seen in movies, actually.
But what were you fighting for? Just because of the territory?
Yeah, the territory, the gangs, yeah, like, so
but
like.
what the territory meant to you? What you were doing in that territory? Selling drugs? How did you earn money as a gang?
People, they sell drugs. Like, I wasn't never too much into selling drugs and all that. I was like a soldier. I was like a soldier putting in work against my enemies. Like, I would go get them, shoot at them, or beat them up, or chase them, or do that kind of stuff. Because like I always thought, people think that once somebody's in a gang that they're so bad, but there's not. There's a bunch of guys in gangs that maybe never did a shooting or never did anything when they're in the gang. Not every guy. There's gang members, and then there's gang bangers. The gang bangers are the ones, the crazy ones, the ones you see out, shootings and all that kinds of stuff. And then there's some guys that they're in the gang and they just hang out. They just hang out, drinking, hanging out, or they grew up in the neighborhood, so they're just around. And then a lot of guys, they settle down. They'll get married, they'll have kids and stuff, so they're not active, but they're from the gang. They hang out once in a while and stuff like that. But the gang bangers, those are the ones that are all in jail all the time, and they're.
But once you get to the gang, you become you run errands.
It just depends on you. Like,
you can become a banger right away.
What'd you say?
You can become a banger right away.
It's up to you what you want to do, and like that's just how crazy you are. Like I said, some guys are not at all. They never did a shooting. They're just, but like to my gang, the more things that you did, the more stripes you would get. So that would, like, your respect would be like so. And then my gang, when I got in, I was like one of the youngest, and there was so many crazy older guys doing so much things. So I was always trying to earn my own, because I'm like a scrawny little kid, and I'm right here with all these crazy guys, and they're doing crazy stuff. So I was always trying to prove myself to them. So I would volunteering and wanting to. It's kind of good that I didn't when I was young like that. I didn't really have too many guns when I first got in, which is good, because I would have even been doing more stuff like that. And like my family was notorious because I grew up from La Puente, California. My family was like notorious family around for gangs. Even like police, everybody used to know my family was notorious. So that was even more so I was trying to
keep up
earn my own stuff, do my own stuff like that.
Was your dad a role model too?
Yeah, I respected him. Feared him. we feared my dad because he was crazy and big, and so we were I feared him, but yeah, we respected him. That's why I said we never were doing none of that stuff around him. So he didn't until it was too late.
What does it mean, too late? You did some stuff and you can get out?
We were just so much grounded into it that nobody was gonna make me get out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no matter what he told me or whatever, I was not gonna get out of the gang. Or like, I was just so far entrenched in it that even going to jail, because I'm risking my life or whatever it might be, I was not gonna leave my gang no matter what. You know? So that's what I mean. It was just so entrenched that my knew, because they knew that, and then one time my house got shot up. So that was how my dad knew at the beginning too, is because imagine he didn't, like, say your son grows up or whatever, you never knew, you're just thinking that your son is a normal little son, and then one day your house got shot up. So you're like, what the heck? Why is my dad was like, why are they shooting up my house?
Yeah.
And it was because of, so then he knew we were into gangs. That's when he knew. And then I remember, because there's like a crazy story, because I remember I was asleep in here's my bedroom window, right? And I'm asleep, and my bed was right in front of the window, in front of the house. So they're shooting at my house and stuff, and I was half asleep. So I sit up on my bed and I look out the window and I see guys in my front yards, but I thought they were my homeboys because I was half asleep. So I thought it was my older brother with my homeboy. So I'm looking out there, and one of them resembled my brother because he was tall and skinny and like that. So I was like thinking, what is my brother and my homeboys doing? So I'm looking at them, and they see me, and they're like, oh, look, whatever. So they look, and the guy looks at me, and he puts the gun right to my head. And he has a rifle, and he's like aiming it, and he's shooting it, and I'm still half asleep, and the guns, he's trying to shoot it, and he's like, it's jammed, it's not working. So then when he put the gun down, I'm still right there like a dummy until I woke up like, and I jumped, boom, and I went on the floor, and then my mother's walking down the hallway, and she's like half asleep. My mother's like, what's going on? I guess she heard like noises or something. So my mom, and I tell my mom, get down. They're shooting up the house. And then as soon as I went like right to the hallway, my older brother comes running out in his boxers. He's like, what's going on? I told him they're shooting up the house. So he immediately starts running out the front door. So I run out, and they're driving away. So we got to see all the guys. So their car's like driving away, and we're chasing after the car, and our boxers, me and my brother, so the car's driving away, and they're like, flipping us off and stuff, and they're driving away, and me and my brother are chasing them. So my dad knew, he knew that we were into gangs, and he wanted me, because my mother, I told them what happened, the guys, and I explained to my mom what had happened. So when the cops came, my dad told me, my mom was like, tell them what happened, Jesse, you've seen the guys and all that. But I wouldn't say nothing to the cops. So the cops were mad, and they were like, and they were getting the bullets out of my house and my front door and all that. They were doing all their like stuff. And my dad was like, tell them what happened. And I said, I can't tell them. And he's like, well. So my dad like put me in the room. My dad was big. He took me in the room. He's like, I'm gonna beat you up right now unless you tell the cops what happened. And then I was like, I ain't going to. Do what you got to do then, because I'm not going to say. And he said, you're choosing your friends in that over your family? Because they almost were like trying to shoot at my little brother's windows. And then I was like, I can't say nothing, because if I ever go to jail, they'll get me in there. So then I was like, oh, I guess he thought about it, like, yeah, that's true. So then he left me alone, but it was too late. That was when he found out. It was like I said, it was too late. We were already in.
Yeah, but your dad was a hypocrite. He was a gang member as well. And
he was earlier.
He was preaching you to not to become one.
Yeah, but he was in a gang, but when we were real young. But then when I started getting into my like teen years, he wasn't anymore.
Oh, I got you.
He was just working, good job, and he was nothing into gang. He actually didn't like that stuff. Like, so my other cousins and that were still active, he would argue with them and like, he didn't want that. Don't bring that around my sons. And like, you know what I mean? If he's seen us hanging out with because he knew they were gang related.
I got you.
So he would tell them, hey, don't be getting my sons into that or whatever. So he was against, he wouldn't.
He transformed some kind of.
Yeah, he wasn't into that no more.
What's the worst thing that you saw during a gang member?
Just shootings and like that, people getting shot and things like that.
A lot of them?
My whole time being in the game,
Yeah.
I seen some guy get beaten to death.
Literally?
Literally. I went to a meeting. I can't really even talk about the meeting because it was for like the Mexican mafia kind of things like that. Like I wasn't from there or nothing, but there was like a big meeting and of all the gangs were there. They had like the representatives from all the gangs there. And some guys were messed up or whatever, so they started beating them up. And so I just seen them beating the heck out of guys. But then I
for
later.
What? Do you know for what?
They were just beating them up for, I don't even know what. For what, if they messed up any little thing. And then, but I seen them beating this guy they're from Inglewood, this gang. And they're beating them. They told them, you guys messed up. So you guys, there was like 5 of them there. They go, so all 5 of you guys are gonna get beat up right now. So they were beating those guys up really bad. I never seen nothing like, I've seen people get jumped. I've been jumped my own self a bunch of times. I've jumped a bunch of people, but I've never seen people get beat like how they were beating people that day. And then I later heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that one of those guys died from how bad they beat him. That was probably, I think, the ugliest thing I seen.
Was that scary?
I wasn't scared. I was just ugly. It was just like ugly to see that. I was like,
what people don't realize about gangs? Maybe something very obvious, but people still don't realize it.
Well, like I said, people think bad and all that, but gangs mostly, they won't do nothing to you. They mostly are only, like me, I would have never, only after our other gang members, like only their rival enemies. You know what I mean? Maybe if you piss them off or you do something to something, then yeah, they're gonna probably beat you up or something could happen to you. But like me, I was a regular kid or whatever. I would have only after my enemies.
But you never questioned why do you have to hate those guys from the other gangs?
No, most of the stuff were like old stories they just told us. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how stupid it is that most of the guys don't even know why.
Yeah, that's absurd.
They're fighting, but you're hating those guys. You want to kill those guys.
And it's Latinos versus Latinos,
yeah.
right?
And then it was so stupid because when you go to jail, you have to get along. Like, I don't know if you know, this is called sureños. You ever heard of that? Sureños or norteños?
No, what's that?
Well, that's like all the southern Hispanics from like Bakersfield down. They're all called sureños. It's 13 sureños. And the ones from Northern Cali, they're called norteños. And they fight the North against the South. That's like all the prisons that you hear about, all the stuff. It's mostly the North and the South. We fight. All the gangs from over here, we're united. So we're in prison. They're together.
I got you.
They're called sureños. So
you fight in the city between each other, amongst each other. Then you go to the jail. You team up
together
to fight those.
Against the blacks. Like it'll be the blacks, the whites, and then the sureños, us, and then up north they have the norteños and then the Crips Bloods or whatever like that. But we're together. So that's why I was like, all these guys, your worst enemies and all that, and they're killing each other, but then they go to jail and they have to hang out with the same guys. That's why I was like, I can imagine all this. Imagine if I was doing life in jail for murder or something like that, and then I'm in here and I'm kicking it with the same gang guys that I'm in there. So I threw my life away.
That's why you got here in the first place.
And I'm in here. So I used to kind of almost used to get into trouble because I didn't do that. When I was in prison, I would say, no, I ain't gonna kick it with my enemies. I won't do that. And the guys used to tell me, what? You can't do that in here in prison, and that you have to get on. So I was like, okay, I'll get along with them. I'm not gonna fight with them. If something happens to them, I'll help them or something like that. But I won't hang out with them, because why would I hang out with them when if I see them on the streets,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get them. And I used to tell them, I'm still active. I'm an active gang member. So when I get out, I'm gonna be active. And I say, plus, he shouldn't want to hang out with me because I did stuff. I shot at his homeboys and all that. So why would he want to hang out with me? But I used to just always know. That's why all the gang stuff and all that, it's stupid, like I said, because they're in there fighting with all their enemies on the streets. But then as soon as if they go to jail, they have to kick it with all their enemies. So it makes no sense.
So who ruled the 90s LA? For instance, there were some areas of influence. The blacks here, Hispanics there, Latinos there, whites here. Was that like that?
Oh, there's not that many whites. They didn't have no gangs or nothing like that. But yeah, they have areas like, there's certain Latino areas, like my area, La Puente, like all that, that was Latino. And then, but there's like Compton and Watts, South Central, that's where there's a lot of blacks. So over there, the Crips and Bloods are fighting right there. But then they even fight with, some Latino gangs fight with some of those, but some certain areas are like, in some areas, the blacks and Latinos fight with each other. Like this, so it depends where you're at. Like, so like El Monte, La Puente, like even right where we're at, it's like Latinos, if anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then like in Glendale, there's some Armenians over there.
Yes.
So there's an Armenian
Lots
gang. They're Sureños though. They kick it with the Mexicans. Like how we said the Sureños, the Armenians are Sureños. They're 13.
Yes.
They're like with us. But it just depends where you're at. Different.
What was jail like? It was worse than you thought, better than you thought?
It was worse than I thought in those days. Like I said, everything I keep
Yes.
saying in those
From
days.
your experience,
Because
yeah.
it's not like that no more. But when I went up in the early 90s, because I went to the youth authority, even in the juvenile hall, man, like when I was in juvenile hall, they used to make us fight, bro. Like the guy who run the unit where I was at, we would all know, like when all the new guys would come in, they would tell us, everybody go down to your rooms. So we would go down to our rooms, and then we would listen. If your name was called, like we'd be sitting in our room, like if they call my name, that means one of my enemies is out there, so I'm gonna have to go out there and fight. So we would be in our room, and if they call my name Holguin, then I'll know. So I'll go out there, and there'll be a guy standing right there with the guy, with the cop guy, whatever, and he'll be like, tell him where you're from, and the guy would tell me whatever, and I'll tell them mine. So they'll be like, all right, you guys go in the day room, and you guys fight right there.
That's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so they'll make us fight. So we
They,
fight.
you mean the guards?
The guards would make us fight right there.
Just for fun?
No, well, he did it like strategically, and it worked, I guess, because instead of having drama and stuff, whatever, they would just fight right there, and then after that, that's it. And then it's
You
over
mean
with.
1 versus 1? Not
Yeah,
the...
one versus, like me and my enemy. We would
Crowd
fight, boom, 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 and then that's it. All right, you guys fought, and then...
But you fight with the fists?
with
No
our
knife,
fists.
nothing?
No, just with our fists. So
You
then
knock the guy out, that's it?
yeah, until whatever two guys are done, whatever, when somebody wins or whatever, you'll fight, boom, 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 and then after that, there won't be no problems because you already, you know what I'm saying? You already
Settled.
handled it. Yeah, you guys could both say, I fought when my enemy was here, I fought him or whatever. So it was kind of good because there wasn't no problems after that. They would just fight that day, and then after that, they lived together or whatever, like there would be no problem. So I guess it kind of technically would work, but it would be like that. So it was always like that. And then when I went up to the youth authority, it was crazy, man. Like even the staff right there too, man. Like when I was first coming in, my first day, right, there's like 10 of us. I'm walking in, and then like there's the whole yard. There's a bunch of dudes. Like you see hundreds of guys right there, and I'm right there standing, just waiting to come into the unit, and I just hear, F Puente. My end is one of my. So I'm like, whoa, that's my gang. They just like I look, and I just see like hundreds of guys. So I'm like, man, who said that? But I'm thinking in my head, man, how do they already know where I'm from? I just barely got here. Like, how do they already know? And I was a little scrawny little kid. I was 16, so skinny little kid. So I'm like, dang. So then I come in the day room, And the staff's right there all corrupt, man. They're telling us all evil, mean things. They're like, you guys do anything, we'll let guys go in your cells and be getting you guys and this and that. They're telling us so mean things, eh? Like, we'll beat you guys up. And I'm telling you, they're frightened. Like, they're telling us the most ugly things that, like, you know what I mean? You're thinking the staff's supposed to protect you or whatever like that. They're literally telling us the most ugly, evil things. Like I said, that they're gonna let guys go in our room and be getting
but
us.
why? So you behave?
So I guess so we'd behave. Yeah. So they're telling. Yeah. So I guess so we'd behave. Like, if you guys do anything, this and like, yeah. I guess now it was so we would behave to scare us, so we wouldn't do nothing. And then so it was like that. And then I'm in the hallway, and it's like a long tier like that, and like it's all scary. And I'm right there. I'm standing in the hallway. And there's big old guys in the cell doors, but they're in the doors and they're throwing kisses at me. And they're big, and they're big black guys too. And I was a little skinny little kid like that, and they're blowing kisses at me, and they're telling me, we're gonna get you, and like that. So I was a little skinny little kid, but I was like a chihuahua. When I would get scared, my mouth would start going off. So they're blowing kisses at me, and like I got scared. So I was like, what? F you guys. So I started talking crap to them. I said, do that when you're outside the door. I'll fire on you, eh? Try to throw a kiss at me. See what happens. See what happens when you're outside the door. Watch what and they were like, what, little kid, we're going to get you. So I was like, whatever, we'll see, whatever. But I guess they were just testing me.
Yes.
Because they never did nothing. They never told me nothing rare, but I guess they were seeing how far I was going to. But I was telling them, what? I'll sock you. I'll hit you if you do that. Like, I was telling them. And then, so that was my first day, bro. It was just all. And then, so, as soon as I get it, my first night. And then, so I go in my cell. Imagine, bro, they walk me all the way down to the last cell, right? And they put the key in. So it's a lock right there. And there's a big bolt on the top, on the bottom. I come in the cell, and they shut the door behind me. And I hear this. A big old black guy comes up. Imagine, he's a black guy and his name is Too Tall. So a black guy that's named Too Tall. He was so big, right? And he has like a bunch of like things in his hair like that. And he's all big and even has a beard. And I'm a little kid, 16 years old. And he's in there for murder on a cop, attempted murders and all that. So he gets up and then he's like, you better not be a dirty little essay. He was a blood from Bounty Hunter, blood, Watts. So, and I was like, I ain't. He said, you better not be a dirty little essay. And I tell him I ain't. And I put my stuff on my bunk. But he ended up, that was the Lord, he ended up saving me because, so then I'm right there and then all the guys are all bratty kids out the windows. So that everybody, where are you from? Right away, the new guys. So I tell them, Puente. And then one of my enemies, what? He disses my neighbor. So I'm like, what? I diss his. He's like, all right, I'm gonna get you, this and that. So I'm like, whatever. And then, so I go in the shower. Like a couple hours later, I go in the shower, I'm butt naked. There's like 4 guys, we're in the shower. And I'm a little kid, like I say. And that dude runs up on me with a shank in the shower. And he runs up on me like that, what's up? And he has the, like, right here, like, close, like, so close, like, almost gonna, like, stabbing me already. He has the knife, like, right there. And he's like, what's up, hey, what were you saying? Because I told you I dissed him out the window. And he told me, I'm gonna get you. So I was like, what? So what, or whatever. So he was like, so what's up, hey, what were you saying? And I was like, ugh. I got scared, and then there's the wall, the shower wall. So I get backed up to the wall, and I was like, oh, man. And he has it on me like that. And he was big. He had, like, size, muscles and stuff, and I was a scrawny little kid. And he has the shank on me, and he's like, what's up? And at first I was scared, but then I told him, what's up? Go ahead. What's up? I ain't scared. Go ahead. Stab me then. And then, like, whoa, it caught him off guard. He didn't expect that. He was like, it like stopped him in his tracks. He was like, what am I gonna do now? And I was like, what's up? I ain't scared. Stab me. What's up? I don't care. What's up? And then he was just like, F you. And he walked away. Like, he was just like, F you. And he walked away. So all the guys in the shower were laughing at him. They were like, that little kid ain't scared of you. He ain't scared. But I was scared, but that was just my first day. But it was like, it was just getting worse. Like every day it was where my friend. Then when I first, like, just telling you, it was so bad right there. And then when I went up to, they finally sent me up north to Preston, and it was like a straight dungeon. So scary place up there. It was a war zone up there. My first day there, riot. We got rushed in the dorm. We got rushed, riot, tear gas. And then they sent me into the hole right there, and it looks like a straight, so scary dungeon. And it was all my enemies, those guys I told you from Northern California. Yes. It was all full of them. So I didn't know if there was like 9 of us. I was like, I don't know if it was us 9 are the only ones here in this whole institution, because it sounded like hundreds of them. And they were all big, older guys and all that. They're talking crap all night out the windows. They're like, yeah, we're going to get you. And we had just, my first day there, riot. They rushed us, riot. They tear gassed us, the cops and all that. They take me to the hole, and I'm in the hole, and it's all scary. And there's all hundreds of guys talking a bunch of crap and out the window saying, we're going to get you. So I was like, man, where did they send me to, man? Where did they send me? So long story short, by the time I got out of that place, I was institutionalized. I was all crazy, maniac. That's why when people know in those days, when if somebody went to the youth authority,
yes,
when they got to the streets, everybody was scared of them. They're like, and we were different. Like, we were like maniacs. Like, people weren't on the streets, aren't used to that. Like I'm saying, anybody said a wrong word to me or anything, boom, I'll just hit
anger.
Them, boom. Like, I'll just won't even say a word, or I'll just what? Just hit them, boom, just being like that. So everybody's like, whoa, people on the streets ain't used to seeing, and we'll just see them like on sight. Like, if I see a guy, I'm gonna rush him, boom, get him. Like, as soon as my eyes set sight on him, I'm gonna get him. That's how we were like that. So when people on the streets ain't used to that, they're not used to seeing guys from prison like that. So when I got out being like that, I was all crazy. And I was, like I said, when I went in there, I was a gang member, but I was still a normal little 16-year-old kid and all that. But when I got out, I was a maniac, like all crazy. And then even doing more shootings, wanted to do more shootings and all crazy like that. So that's why I ended up being the main guy for my gang at that time.
So prison changes people right away.
It changed me bad.
Did you respect your life at all at that point? You didn't care about it at all?
I didn't care about it at all, because when I went in there, I had my girlfriend. I was like, my first love, you know what I mean? We de-virginized each other, and I had a daughter. Well, she was pregnant. When I went to jail, she was pregnant. So I was all in love with her. That was like my first love of my life. Think about your
You
first
were 16?
Love. 16.
And she was?
She was like 16 too, 15, 16, same as me. But she was pregnant, and like I had a lot of love. I was in love with her. That was my first love. And so she left me when I was in jail doing all this time. So I got all even more crazy. That even too made me like more crazy too, because I was like mad at the world because she left me and all like that. So
when did you get to prison next time? For what?
I got violated like a few times. I got one of us because of her. I did a year violation. One of the times is because when I got out, I wanted to see my daughter, right? So she's like, no, you can't see your daughter. She's like, I'll let you see her one time, but then I'll meet you at the police station and you have to sign over all your rights to your daughter. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. And then she's all, I'll take you to court. And then she's like, go ahead, I'll tell them that you're a gang member and all that. You're gonna lose at court. So I was like, all right, whatever. So me and her were talking, and then her boyfriend got on the phone. And like I said, so me and him started arguing on the phone. And I told him, you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing on the phone. When I see you, we'll see what's up then. When I see you, I'm not gonna be talking on the phone. When I see you, we'll see what happens then. And I guess he got scared. So he was like, what? I get crazy on the phone. But I guess he got scared because, so then I went and I caught one of his homeboys, right? And I was gonna get his homeboy. I was gonna get him. And then he was like, no, that's between you guys and that girl. I have nothing to do with this. And basically begging me, like, please leave me alone and all that. So I said, okay, I'm gonna let you go, but let him know I'm out now. And when I catch him, he got something coming. When I see him, man, I'm gonna let you go just so you can tell him that I got and I was working, so I got out and I was working, and then my PO calls me and he tells me, I need you to come in and this and that. So I go to my parole office, and as soon as I go in there, he handcuffs me, takes me back to the youth authority, and he took me to YTS. It's in Ontario. That's one of the craziest ones there is. He took me straight to the hole right there at YTS, and I'm like, why are you arresting me?
Yeah.
And he's we got you on another charge. That's all you need to know. So I'm like, what the heck? So I'm in there for like a week, and then I get my paperwork. I got violated because my ex, and I guess when I got his homeboy like that and all, I guess they told him, hey, Jesse got me, and he said he's gonna get you and whatever. So they got scared. So they called my PO and told them that I was threatening them. So I got violated, bro. I got a year violation because of that, because I was wanting to see my daughter. They lied, and they were saying all kinds of lies and this and that. And then even that was messed up, because even I could tell you all those other stories and all that, that is even nothing. There's the craziest place. It was called Chad. It was like there's a bunch of YA institutions, but like all the craziest guys from all the most craziest from all the institutions, they send them all to this one place. And that's the crazy, where all the crazies are at.
Where's that? Here in Cali?
It's in Stockton, California, up north.
Yes.
So that's their area. Remember I told you my enemies and areas up north. So it's their area, and it's where all the craziest is. It's a crazy old place. They sent me there. They sent me to that crazy old place for a year, just because I was trying to see my daughter and all that. So that place was even so crazy. I'm telling you, like every day I would make it back to my cell. I'll be like, phew, I made it. I made it another day in here. Like every day it was like a struggle to be in there. And so I'm like, man, I'm in here doing a year. And I was working, and I was even dating a girl. She was a college girl. I was working. So I was trying to do good. But because I got into it, because I wanted to see my daughter, I did a year. So I'm like, man, I'm here in this crazy old place doing a year because I wanted to see my daughter. So,
but honestly, what would you do if you met the guy? Beat the shit out of him?
That, or probably, because he was a big old dude though. I would have probably tried, or I would have rushed him on sight if I had nothing. But if I had a gun or something, I probably would have shot at him.
How did the second term change you? Even worse? You became more angry?
That's when I got busted. Yeah, I got a couple, like two little, I got that year violation, and I got another stupid little violation for a few months. And then I was out for like a year. And that's when I was the longest I was out. And that's when I was like the man around my gang, because and then I used to get a lot of girls back in those days. I had a lot of girls, and I was just like a ghetto superstar around my hood, because I was all crazy. I had the respect, and I was doing all the shootings, and just every way I was like a ghetto superstar at that time. And then I got busted for another shooting. And that's when I got saved and all that kind of stuff.
So at that moment, have you ever asked like the universe, the God, somewhat bigger than you, why it's happening to you? Or you never asked that question at that moment?
I never asked nothing like that. But I remember, that was asked your question earlier, I remember my father, when I was out during that year and I was running amok, right? My parents would never even see me. I would be gone for days, and then I would just come home, shower, and maybe sleep, whatever, and then I would leave again for days. And then my mom would probably open my drawer, there'll be guns, drugs, right there. Like, they knew I was all bad. So one day my father asked me, he was like, hey, what's up? What's going on with you, son? Like, what's your plan, or what are you doing, or what? Because he seen I was doing all bad. And at first he grabbed my arm, and he lifted up my shirt, to look at my arm. I guess he thought I was slamming heroin or drugs, because I was just gone. Like I said, I would be gone for days. And so my dad gets my arms, and he lifts up my sleeves, and he looks, And I was like, nah, I don't slam heroin and all that. And that's when he told me, he's, well, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? What's your plan and all that? And I told him, you know what? I'm gonna end up dead or in jail. I told him, so don't worry about me. I'm telling you right now, I'm either gonna end up dead or in jail. So then my dad was like, okay, since you told me that, I'm not gonna tell you nothing no more. You do whatever you're gonna do and all that. Yeah, he's like, do whatever you're gonna do. Since now that you told me that, then you're just gonna do what you're gonna do. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna end up dead or in jail. And then it would have happened because I got shot.
Yeah, but getting back to that moment when the dad told you that he's not gonna do anything, were you expecting for him to step up and do something deep inside of you?
Maybe, or I don't know. I never thought about that. Maybe I was thinking, but I was so crazy, and that at that time, like I said, and I was that's when I was out of jail, out of those crazy old places. I was all institutionalized crazy. So I don't know. I just told him that. I didn't think about it. What if I just told him the truth, that I'm either gonna die and like I said, it almost happened because I got shot and paralyzed and I almost died.
But ideally, what your dad had to do back then, to take all your family and move out of the city?
And they did. Well, because and then when I went to jail that last term, well, even then, when I paroled, he was living outside, so it was good. So I was away from my gang, a little ways, like a half-hour drive, you know what I mean? Like Ontario, you know what I mean? So it was a little away from my neighborhood, so that's why I was doing a little bit better, working. But then I would go to my hood, you know what I mean? But then when I went to prison the last time, my parents moved way up to like Victorville, so it was like an hour away. So they moved, so I was doing pretty good. Like when I got out the last time, and that's when I had found the Lord, kind of, you know what I mean, and all that. So I was doing good, but I just ended up getting caught up with the guy over there.
Let's say you were in your father's shoes. What would you do? At that moment when your son tells you that either I'm gonna end up in jail or dead.
But nowadays, because my dad, he didn't know the Lord or nothing. Now I would know the Lord and all that, so I would try to tell him all about the Lord and things like that. Yeah,
but let's take the same circumstance. You're in the shoes of your father, and your kid tells you this.
I would have did like how he did, try to move him out of there, like move away from the gang, you know what I mean? I would have told my wife, hey, we got to move far away from that gang as possible. I would have did that. Or maybe try to talk to him, tell them, be smart out there, or try to give him some tips, like, you know what I mean?
Do you think a lot of gang members can be saved but just if dad would show up and be in the family, be present?
Well, yeah, maybe a lot of it is true, but that wasn't true for mine, because my dad was present, and he was good, and he worked.
But you slipped, somewhere you slipped.
It's because my family. And then too, like I said, my family was all gang related, so it wasn't even so much, a little bit him at the beginning, but then like later, like I said, he wasn't into that no more, but my cousins were, and I had cousins near my age, and I was real close with my cousins and all that, and then what had happened too was, like all the little kids, like I said, because we used to be into sports when I was young, football, baseball, basketball, all that. So all the little kids in my area that we used to play football with and all that, they all got into the gang too at that same time. So it was like a good crop. Like even too when I used to be in school, junior high and high school, like all the bratty kids, like all the best fighters in the school and all that, they all got into the gang. And like all the kids,
I gotcha.
My neighborhood, they all got it. So all my friends got into the gang. So it was like the popular thing. And then that's when that movie Colors had came out about gang movies. So it was like real, but that's when the gangster rap started coming out and all that kind of stuff. So at that time, the gang like was popular, especially all the girls loved the gang lifestyle.
But they had daddy issues as well, those girls. If they like the gang members.
They just like bad boys, I guess. I don't know. Because I used to say, even back in the days, I used to say that if they want to ever end up gang lives, it would be the women. If the women said we're gonna stop being with gang members, then gangs would stop, because that's what was a lot doing, was because the girls, like, you know what I mean, the girls liked it. Gang guys in those days, I don't know about how it is now.
They controlled sex just like they do right now. You control relationship, they control sex.
Like I said, I never had no girls before a gang. I got in the gang, and then I started having
and nothing
a lot of
changed,
girls.
just you became a gang member.
And then all of a sudden, then I started getting a lot of girls.
How's your relationship with your daughter?
It's right, I met her, but I didn't get to meet her till she was 18. Because, remember I told you she got me violated a year?
Yes.
So then when I got out, I was like, I'm gonna wait till I get off parole to see her, because she could just have me again. She
Yes.
just had me arrested again anytime I'm on parole. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to wait till I get off parole to try to see her. And then so I waited that, and then I got shot and paralyzed. So then I was going, and then I got married, and so like, I was still on parole and all that too, and I got shot and all that. So when I got shot, and I was learning through my paralyzed and just all that. So even more years went by, and then I found her on MySpace. That's when there used to be MySpace.
Yes, I remember.
I looked her up, and I found my daughter on MySpace. So then she was probably like 15 or something. That's when so I went to court. So I found out where she lived, her address. So we served her mother with papers. So I took her to court to see her, and I lost at court. They told me that I had to wait till she was 18 to see her. So
What were their arguments?
They just said that
You're a bad person?
that she was already set in her life or whatever, that they didn't want me to come in and disrupt her life or whatever. That's what they said. So
Do you keep in touch with her right now?
Yeah, I
She's
text her.
30-something, right?
Yeah, but she's deaf, so I can only text. I can't talk to her.
She was born that way?
Yeah, she's deaf.
How's she doing? All right?
She's good.
How did you find Jesus?
Boss. Want me to tell the story? Or?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, well, I was working with some older Christian man, and he was an ex-gang member too, and he was my foreman, and I was working with him. I was a painter, and he started sharing the gospel with me, and I was raised a Catholic. And all like that, and I never heard it the way he was telling me. So he starts telling me about Jesus and all kinds of stuff like that. So I tell him, whoa, that sounds good. I told him maybe one day I'll go to church, but I was supposed to do a shooting that night. We already had the guns and the car, and they were just waiting for me to get off of work, and I was about to do another shooting. I didn't say that.
Do you get nervous at that time? Like, you work, you have a job, and you know that at night you're going to go and shoot somebody. Do you get nervous all the day, or is it just regular stuff for you
Not
at that
nervous,
time already?
I was excited. Like, I liked it. Like, that was my
Adrenaline?
That was my adrenaline. I liked to do shootings. That was my thing. I liked, because I wasn't all into drugs and all that other kind of stuff. I just.
But you shoot to kill or shoot to
just shoot
scare?
at them, just to scare, or just to say we shot at them. They'll know that we shot at them, or you know what I mean? Like they knew that we went to go shoot at them, that my enemies would know. But what was I saying before? Oh, so then I knew I was gonna do a shooting. So he's sharing the gospel. So I thought maybe one day I'll go to church. Maybe if I ever get married or something. And then I said, but I don't think I could be forgiven. I did too many things. And he told me, you can be forgiven. You never heard about King David in the Bible. And I told him no. And then he was like, he was a great man of God, and he was sleeping with a soldier's wife, and he had a soldier killed. And so he's telling me that and telling me about Jesus. You can be forgiven. So I'm listening. So I'm like, oh, okay. I don't say nothing. And then I was in a room and I was painting. I was by myself. And I thought about what he said, and I prayed, but I didn't know how to pray or nothing like that. I just said, God, help me to change. And it was a trip because I achieved the greatest that you could have hoped for in that lifestyle. I was the main guy for my gang. I had respect, power. Like I could say, you, go do this shooting or go do whatever, and they would listen. I had women, like I had everything that you could, like every little gang member's dream, I achieved. I was like a ghetto superstar, like I'm saying, I achieved, but I still wasn't happy, no matter what. You would have thought at the time I had
dream
probably,
life.
yeah, even at that time I had like probably 2, 3 girlfriends at that time, and they were all beautiful girlfriends, not just girlfriends, I mean beautiful girlfriends. And everything, I had a bunch of girls, everything. Like you think I would have been, I'm the main guy for my gang and everything, I would have been happy. But I wasn't happy, so I said, God, help me to change. And then I went and I did the shooting that night.
But why did you go yourself?
I didn't go, I went, there was 4 of us.
Yeah, but if you were the main guy, you could just send 4
Yeah,
youngsters.
well, they went, because they wanted to go. Because a lot of times they would want to go too, because they want to earn their little names in that too, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'll tell them, hey, well, I'm gonna go shoot it, and some of them, hey, I want to go too, you know what I mean? And so I was like, all right, I was shooting, I had a gun, you know what I mean? But we had another one, he had a gun. I think we had 3 guns, so one was driving, and then we had 3 guns, so there's 3 other ones, so there was 4 of us, and all 3 of us had guns. So
you just stick out the window and you shoot.
Depends, but we didn't. We went to like the heart of their enemies, like with that gang that we gonna go that. We heard like the heart of their neighborhood, like the heart where. So we walked. We were just gonna walk. We walked in the heart where they say, like we were 3 of us. We were all 4 of us, whatever. But we walked all into the heart of their neighborhood, and we walked around. And we're looking for them. And if we seen any of them, then we had 3 guns. We were gonna, blah, blah, blah. So we walked all around their neighborhood. We were looking, where are these guys at? Like, where are they at? We didn't see none. So then we walked back to the car, and because there were some girls, we were gonna hang out with some girls right there. And I go, let's go hang out with these girls and then we'll come again looking for these guys because there's none of them here. So we put up in some apartments. And we pulled up in the apartments, and there's like a top thing right there, and I look, and I see they were there. Like, so the guys are right, so I see the 2 of the guys were right there, and they were like, what? And I said, oh, and I put my hand, yeah, like I put my gun was already right there ready, everything. I already had my gloves on it, because we were just looking for them. So as soon as the guys got up, I put my hand in my pocket, I got my gun, like, bam. So the fools were like, whoa, what's up? And I told him, what's up? Like that. I told him, what's up? Like that. And that fool was like, what? And as soon as he said that, I shoot, you know what I mean? I pull out my gun, I shoot, bam. So then they start leaving, and then my other come out. He shoots too and all that, so we leave, boom. We took it off in the car, and we're all ducked down. And then my homeboy, he's driving, and I could tell he's like scared as he's driving like fast. And I tell him, just drive normal. Don't panic. Drive normal. Because then the cop, like, we're all right. And then he's like, the cops are behind us. And I can hear it in his voice. He sounds scared. So I tell him, don't panic. Just drive normal and all that. And then I just seen the cop lights. So then we got up, and we had a high-speed chase, and we crashed and all that. And then I got busted, and I was in the county, and I had 7 felonies. I was looking at life, because I already did years for shootings, got out, I was still on parole, and I got busted for another ones again. So then, I said I had 7 felonies, so I was in the county, and I thought about everything that man had told me. So I prayed that night, and I don't remember, because I didn't know how to pray or nothing like that. So I know that God knows your heart. Mm-hmm. Because he knew my heart, and I got saved that night. I prayed, and I got saved.
But then you got paralyzed.
Yeah, because
you got into more shootings.
When I got out again, because I got saved that night, and I started reading my Bible, and I started it changed, because I remember when I used to be in juvenile hall and in YA. I used to try to read my Bible, but it used to be boring to me. Mm-hmm. It was like nothing, I didn't understand it. But after that night, when I got saved, I started reading the Bible came alive to me. And not only did it come alive to me, I was hungry for it. So I'm growing, reading it, and I started going to Bible studies in there. But the mistake that I made was, I tried to walk on both sides of the fence. I was still trying to kick it with all the guys, the fellas, I told you, sureños. I was trying to kick it with my homeboys in there, but then I was reading my Bible and going to Bible studies too, so I was trying to do both sides of the fence.
Yes.
I was trying to do both because I didn't want people to think I picked up the Bible in jail. So I was doing both, and you know how the devil is, man, but I was learning about God, and then I got blessed. I only got a few years, so they sent me up to prison, and I went to a level 3 yard, and the level 3s and level 4s is the big times. That's where all the murderers and the ones doing a lot of time, the crazies, is at the level 3s and level 4s. So they sent me up to a level 3, and they know in there. Remember I told you YA boys, everybody knows that the guys who are in YA are soldiers. They're the crazy ones, the riders. They call them the riders. You know what I mean? They're doing the stuff. So I was a YA boy. So as soon as I got to the pen right there on the yard, my first day, I was a YA. They knew I was a YA. I seen dudes even that I was with in YA in there on the yard right there. And one of my homies was on the yard. So they were like, hey, there's some Norteños right here. So guys from the northern, I told you. They're all, we need you to get them, man. We need you to rush these fools. So I was like, I didn't want to because I was already learning about God, trying to I was like trying to walk with the Lord, but I told my wife, man, and that's how I knew something had changed, because before they wouldn't even have to tell me. I would have been volunteering, like, oh, dude, like I was before like that, but I didn't even want to do it. That's how I knew something dramatically changed inside of me, because I didn't want to do it. And I was like, man, I don't want to do it, but will it look bad if I don't do it? And then the one was like, yeah, it'll look bad if you don't do it. So I'm like, man. So I started, boom, getting fights. So slowly getting fights. Then another time, then I had to do another one. They told me to rush these other ones. So then I rushed those ones too. And I'm just getting trouble, fights, going into the hole. So I'm slowly but surely started falling away from God. And like I said, I didn't know nothing about nothing. I got saved and all that, but I was reading my Bible sometimes, going to Bible studies sometimes. But even time I knew another time it changed me, because one of those Norteños that I had rushed, right? Later, months later, whatever, I'm in Bible study. And he was there, and he was sitting right there. And after I'm right there, and then I turned to him and I apologized. And I told him, hey man, I'm sorry that I rushed you and all that, whatever. And he was like, oh, all right, man, it's all right. But even that was a dramatic change. Like never before would I apologize to my enemy for that. But that's why the Lord was already working in me and changed, like something was dramatically had happened to me like that. But it just, like that slowly, I was like that. And then I got out. And then that's when I got out, and then I was doing good, man. Because I had 2 strikes, so I couldn't get arrested again. I was going to get life and all that. So, and my mom and them moved way up to Victorville.
Tell me about those strikes. If you've got 3 strikes to go to lifetime?
You get life automatically. So if I get busted for anything, I will get life. So I got out. So I was like that, and then my family moved. My mom bought a house up in Victorville, so it was like far from my hood. So I got up, I was over there, and I was working, and I started, but I messed up because I started messing with, that was my downfall, was girls. Because I used to get a lot of girls. So I started messing with girls up there, and that's even why I got shot, even too. It was over girls and that, but I ended up getting into some guy, but I was doing good, man. I was working, just staying over there. And then it was a trip how the Lord works, because one of my homeboys from my hood, right, he called me, told me, hey, come down to the hood. And I was like, nah, man, I ain't trying to go down around over there, eh? And then he was like, nah, come, eh? You only stay at my house. Because he was already married, settled down. He had 2 kids and settled down. He had his own place and all that. He said, no, you just come and stay in my house. I'll have the homeboys come to the house and they'll visit you right there. So you'll just be at the house. He goes, we'll pick you up and this and that. So I said, all right, I'll go then. So I went down to my neighborhood. We partied that whole night. And the next morning, right, it was like Sunday at 1 o'clock. And his little daughters played softball. They were little, his little daughter was like 9 years old, and she played softball. right? So we're in front of a house at 1 o'clock in the daytime, and it was her baseball coach, her softball coach. It was a woman coach. It was a woman with her daughter. Her daughter was like 9 years old. His daughter's like 9 years old. Me and him. And he's talking to the coach, right? So we're right there in front of her house talking to the coach, and a car pulls up. And it's my enemies, right? So that fool pulls up, but it's on this side. So the guy's sitting shotgun, he's like close, right? So the car pulls up, and then that fool says, and I tell him, Puente, like, what's up? I tell him, Puente. And then he pulls out a gun, bam, right on me. Like, he has me like this close, like literally like this close. So I'm right there, I tell him, Puente. And he, he has the gun on me, like, whoa. And he's so close like this, like try to run, like there's no way, you're so close, you can't run, he's gonna hit you or whatever. So he, let me turn off my ringer. He has me so close, so I know it's not even no use running, he's gonna shoot me or whatever. So so he pulls it out, he has me right there, so I'm like, whatever, eh? I tell him like, whatever. And my homeboy's like pretty close to me. My homeboy tells him, you gonna shoot us in front of my daughter? You're gonna shoot us in front of my daughter? So that guy looks, and he sees the daughter and that other coach and that other little girl right there, like right by us. So he has me like that, and he looks at them, and then he looks, and he keeps going like that, and I could see it in his eye, like he's like, should I? He's like debating, like, should I? Because he's going like that, like, and I could see him, he's like thinking like that, and he has me right there, but then my cousin pulls up behind him, and my cousin jumps out, and he has a gun on him, like that. So then the guy says, oh, guy's in his car, and he leaves. But I could have died right then, right? So I felt the Lord was like giving me a last little chance, because I could have died right there. And then I ended up getting shot soon after that. I got shot like real soon after that. So I was like, if the Lord was giving me like a last little chance.
You didn't get the lesson.
I didn't get the lesson, and I got shot and paralyzed soon after that.
What did you feel?
When I got shot?
Yeah, when you got paralyzed.
I didn't really feel it, brother. I didn't feel it, because then I got shot because I got into it with some guy. And so I went to his house, and I was just kicking down his front door. Like, imagine somebody right now just kicks down your front door, comes in and just gets you. I was kicking down the guy's front door, and as I'm kicking down the door, he shot me, boom. He shot me right here out the side window, he shot me, boom. And I didn't feel it. Like, it felt like little something, like something, but I had no pain. Like, I felt like the initial, like, something, and then I took like 2 steps, and then I fell, boom. And then I was on the floor, and I had no pain or nothing, right? But I couldn't feel my legs, right? So I fell, and I'm on the floor, and then he's shooting more, boom, boom. He's trying to shoot me. So I'm trying to pull myself with my arms. So I'm pulling myself, and my little cousin was with me, and he had a 9mm, and he's right there on the wall, like hiding with the 9mm. So I look at him, and I tell him, what are you doing, eh? You know what I mean? I'm shot right here. He's shooting at me, and you're right there with a 9mm in your hand. So I tell him, what are you doing? I said, blast. So my little cousin starts shooting with the 9. Boom, 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 boom. So when he's shooting, my brother picks me up, and they take me to the car. And like I said, I didn't feel nothing. And then they put me in the back seat of the car, and they're like, what's wrong with you? And I tell them, I don't know. I think I'm shot. I can't feel my legs. And then they lifted up my shirt, and they're like, yeah, you're shot. And the reason I couldn't feel it is because it went through my lung, and it went into my spine. So all my blood was going into my lung, and I was choking on my own blood. But I didn't feel no pain.
Did you ask then God why this happened?
No, but I got scared, and so they were like, because first I told myself, hey, when they told me you're shot, I got scared right then. I was thinking, dang, hang on for the ambulance. So then the ambulance comes, and then the cops in the ambulance, they're all on me, and they put an IV in my arm, and I can hear them talking. And they're like, he's not going to make it. His only chance is to call for the chopper. So they tell me, we're going to call the chopper. We're going to airlift you. Hang on. So now I'm like, man, hang on for the chopper. And as soon as they put me in the chopper, we start flying. And I could feel it, like when I'm dying. Like you could feel when you're dying, man. I'm right there and I'm choking on my own blood, and I feel like if I'm dying. So I started calling out to Jesus, but I wasn't praying like, Lord, help me to live, because I thought I was gonna die at any second. It was only repentance. It was only, I didn't want to go to hell. So I started calling out to Jesus, and it was a trip because I was all emotionally, physically, all scared, dying and all that. But once I started calling out to Jesus, I just felt wonderful peace came over me, and I was just so at peace, and I was just so comforted. But I knew instantly, like I knew. And then even too, as soon as they took me into the emergency room, they were all on me. And I just remember looking down, and there was like I'm telling you, bro, it was like a big old drill. So I just remember looking down, and I just see a drill going in me. I don't even think they didn't have no time in that to give me no anesthetic or nothing. I just looked, and I just see a drill going, and just the blood. Like when it goes in, I just see the blood squirts on me, and like, and I just looked, but I was just like, I didn't even care, because so they put a chest tube in me. They put a tube in my lung and like that. But I was just like, I didn't care. I was like, save me, because thought I was gonna die. You know what I mean? I was just like, go ahead, do whatever, like just to save me. But I knew though, instantly, I felt immediately that God left me, that God was gonna use me. Like I felt it. I was like, God left me, and God, He's gonna use me for something. He left me for something. So God just immediately, God started using me, even when I was right there. Even too, it was a miracle. Like my parents told me that when they went down there, that they were talking to the doctor, and they told that the doctor said that it was a miracle. He said that the bullet was coming straight to my heart, but just for no mysterious reason, it ricocheted into my spine, and he didn't know how that happened. And the doctor told my mom it was like if an angel put his hand in front of my heart, because he didn't know how the bullet was coming straight from my heart, but just for no particular reason, it just went pshoom, and it went into my heart. So that's what they told him, my parents. The doctor told them that he didn't understand how that had happened. And so then the doctors were like, I was like how I am right now. The Lord gave me peace for my situation. And they were like, hey, can you go around the hospital? We never seen they were like we never seen a guy like you before. Usually when they're young and we tell them they're never gonna walk again, usually we have to give them antidepressant medicines. But the Lord gave me peace. So even from immediately, so I started going around the hospital trying to cheer, because they had me in like a wing with all the quadriplegics and all that. So I was going around the hospital. I was all shot up myself, but I was going around trying to cheer up all the other patients and all like that. So immediately God started using me. And then as soon as I got released from the hospital, I got married. And then my first time I got married, and then I started going into juvenile halls. Doing Bible studies, and I started sharing the gospel with a lot of my ex-gang member homeboys and my family and like that. And then my whole family got saved. They all got saved. And then so God was just using me for a lot of things. I started speaking at different churches, and I got to speak at a school, and even the San Bernardino police department, they had like a thing where they had all the parolees, the recent parolees, in like a big room, and they had me go in there and speak to all the parolees, and I tell them my story and everything like that. So, and I started speaking at like car shows, and God was just using me for like a lot of things at that time.
Amen. Did you get any testimonies from real people, real gang members that they got out of gangs because of you, because of your story?
Oh, but yeah, I have a lot, probably. But I never truly asked them for their testimony or what, but I know a lot that I didn't, but the Lord used me to share with them, and they got saved.
But if you didn't get shot back then, there was no chance you would quit. right? Doing those things.
Unless maybe if I got married or something like that, or something maybe if I settled down.
He was so stubborn.
Yeah, I was just so, like, to me, my gang was everything to me, bro. Like, I didn't care about my family, nothing or nothing. Like, my gang was like my whole
Almost worshipped?
life. Almost worship, bro.
Substitution to God.
It was my everything. And those, like, I don't know why or what. Because my brothers and the other family members weren't like that. Like, out of all my family, I think out of all my family, even though they were all gang and all that, I think I was the most gang related. Like, my brother, even though he was all gang, but he settled down right away. Even my little brother got into gang, he settled down right away. Like, even some of my cousins, they all settled down. Like, got the girl was pregnant, you know what I mean? Got married and stuff like that. So they were still would come around the gangs and things like that. But I was like the most gang related, I think, out of all my family.
Let's go Lexit. When was the first time you went out and vote? You remember yourself voting?
I think it was for Bush.
2000?
Before that. And then I was a Democrat.
Yes.
So I started because, see, I was a Democrat. I was raised as a lifelong Democrat. Like most minorities, blacks and Latinos, we automatically grow up thinking we're Democrats. And I was like, when I was young, I asked my family, like, what are we or what? And they're like, we're Democrats. And I said, why? And they said, because the Republicans are for the rich whites and the minorities are for the blacks and Latinos are for the Democrats. So we grow up thinking that automatically, blacks and Latinos. So I was like, okay, I'm a Democrat. So I was always a Democrat. And then, but what changed me, everything, made Lexit, made me, everything was my faith. Because as I was growing in my faith, as I was growing with my walk with the Lord, I'm reading my Bible and just growing with my Lord and the Lord, I just seen, I was like, as a Christian, I could no longer support that party. No way. That's why I always say it. And I'm like the most one. No one else says it like me, bro. I always post it. I always say it. And, how could you say that about all of them? And I'm like, I don't know how anybody could say they're a Christian and vote Democrat. To me, that's an oxymoron. There's no such thing as a Christian and a Democrat because they're the party of Satan. To me, I say it like they're totally evil. Like that's how I like read your Bible and how could you possibly? But so I was a Democrat, but like I said, my faith changed me, bro. I was like, I can no longer. So then that made me first. I got angry. So I was angry at the Democrats because I seen how they were all evil, and they weren't even as evil back then. Imagine.
What year was that?
It was like Obama.
2008.
On the Obama term, when Obama, he started making the White House the gay colors, and he started making men go into women's restrooms, and he was making pastors turn over their sermons if they said anything about gays or that, and then just killing the babies and all that. But the party wasn't even as bad as it is now. But I even seen it then at the time. That's why, if I seen it even then and it wasn't even as bad, how the heck can you be a Christian now and not being seen it when I seen it?
I'm going to interrupt you for a little while. When do you think America got more racist?
Obama, definitely.
How so?
Because he made everything identity politics. He made the focus on race. Because before then, never used to hear about race. Even my whole time when I grew up in gangs, whatever and all that, I never thought of racist and race. Nobody ever thought. But when Obama went in there, he was all about racism. And he made all that racism stuff. Like I said, even under Bush and all that and that, I remember rarely hearing too much about Bush racist and stuff like that. Like it was never. Obama made it totally about is when all that race and all that stuff came in. He would like gaslight it. He would gaslight
on purpose,
purposely made it all like that about race and all that. But he was the most evil. But so at first I was angry, but that made me started doing my home research on it. So I started because I was mad at the Democrats because of Obama doing all that stuff. So then I started doing my research, and I was like, what? They founded the KKK, what? Jim Crow laws, that they did that, and what? The Democrats, they founded the KKK, and just like, and I started seeing all the racist past and things from the Democrats, and I was like, whoa, I never knew none of that. They never taught me none of that stuff in school. I never heard nothing about that. So then I was like, all right, I'm done with the Democrats, but I still wasn't wanted to be a Republican. But I knew I couldn't be a Democrat. So then the election with Trump came, and I wasn't for Trump. I was going for Cruz. I wasn't even a Trumper. I didn't know nothing about Trump. I didn't know nothing about that. I was going for Cruz. But then when Trump won, I just seen he was doing great, greater than I ever seen. He exceeded my greatest hope for, like, he did greatest that I've ever seen a president do, and he kept all his promises. He even kept all his promises to Christians, and also I'm like Trump, he ain't even all godly like that. Like, he don't even like act all godly like Bush. Bush used to act all godly and all like this and this and that, but he never did nothing for Christians or nothing like that. Trump ain't even godly all like that, but he kept all the promises that he made to Christians. That's why even had a lot of, even Pence was good at his godly man, but Trump had a lot of godly people in his administration, and people don't even know that. Like, even one of the times I remember I was going into the White House, we're walking into the White House, a bunch of us, and as we're coming into the White House, we just hear, there's power in the name of Jesus. So all of us stop, we look around like, wow, they're praising Jesus in the White House. Eh? So we come in there, and then there's a worship singer, and they're singing worship, and they're praising Jesus, right? And then even a Latina lady comes out, and she sings 4 songs in Spanish, and all of them songs were about God. So I'm
no
like,
way.
well, yeah, all the songs were about God. So even though, like, they even used to have Bible studies. And when Trump's administration, they even have Bible studies in the White House. Like, and I know like Jenny Korn and Andrea, like a bunch of the people, because I went to the White House 6 times.
Yes.
So I knew a lot of the people that he had in his administration were godly people. So like I said, even though he wasn't godly, he had godly people. And even in other times, I would be in the White House, and there'll be hundreds of us, hundreds of Latinos, and we're right there praying.
And in comparison to now,
yeah. Oh,
that's circus. That's Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah
2.0.
That's what I always try to say, that the Democrats, that the next on their agenda is going to be pedophilia. Like, the next on their agenda, like you heard me now way in advance. Like I used to say way in advance that they're going to try to kill Trump. I had been saying that for a long old time, and then you see it happen in the same way. You hear me telling you that the next on the leftist agenda is going to be pedophilia.
Legalized.
At some point, that they're going to be pushing pedophilia. That's what they're trying to do. The left, the Democrat Party, is trying to turn America into Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, but they're trying to do this as pedophilia is a sexual orientation, right?
That's what they're trying to do.
You just like boys and girls, literally.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Even too, see how they're doing it? That's why they're even doing this transgender thing. Like, there's no benefit. It's totally evil, right? It's totally, like even you
said. How can people see that? Before
you were even saved and all that, you said you noticed that it was evil. It's pure evil. They're mutilating kids and
chopping off their...
So that's what they're going to say. They're going to say, oh, they're old enough to get their sex changes and all that, so then they're old enough to have sex.
Yes.
And that's what they're gonna push. That's what their agenda for these evil people. That's why all these people, they don't know what they're doing. See, they're focusing on identity politics, they're focusing on race and all this nonsense stuff, when these Democrats, they're over there pushing these evil agenda. They're communist, Marxist, anti-God, evil, open borders. They're trying to mutilate kids. They're trying to groom kids. Like, in all ways, the crime, horrendous, the inflation, like all this stuff is going terribly. But they got you over here voting on race and racism, which is a total joke, because they don't even know Trump was a Democrat. He barely even, not even a few years ago, he switched parties and became a Republican, but he was a Democrat. His dad was a Democrat. He was a Democrat. So I was like, And they try to say Trump was a racist. So when was he a racist? When he was a Democrat. Well, when he was a Democrat, he wasn't a racist? No, now all of a sudden, he's a racist. But before, all these rappers and all of them, they all love Trump. Yeah, they all love Trump. Everybody, even all these, he was on what was that?
Late
George
night
Lopez.
shows.
Yeah, George Lopez show. All of them, they all loved him. The View, Whoopi Goldberg, they all love Trump. But now all of a sudden, he's a racist. They see it's all fake. Eh? They're just using that. They're using race to manipulate for votes to push their evil, godless agenda.
And there is no evidence. Like if you say he's racist, where are the proofs? Show me the footage when he says something bad.
Yeah, but even that, look, ex-gang member, Chicano, from the gang, all that, prison, youth authority, all that, to being invited to the White House 6 times. Eh? Who else would do that? If he was a racist, would he have me? And then I'm telling you, every time I'm there with hundreds of Latinos. But see, the fake media and all that, they'll never show that. They'll never show that there's a bunch of hundreds of Latinos in that. Even one time there was hundreds of blacks and Latinos, prison guys, gangs, and all. We were all right there at the White House, and they'll never show that, the media. Because, like I say, all the left cares about, any of you guys thinking whatever, all they care about is killing babies and ramming the homosexual, I call it the alphabet mafia agenda down our throats. That's all they really care about. And then anti-God, that's why I say it, the devil has chosen the Democrat Party to push his agenda.
But bro, you told me you're 50, right? So you remember Clinton era. That wasn't like that.
That's what I told you. It wasn't until Obama was the time when it got all evil. That's what I'm saying. That's why I always tell people, like, these people that are Democrats, I'm like, this ain't the same Democrat Party. This isn't the Clinton Democrats. This isn't the Kennedy Democrats. These are radical left. They would be calling Kennedy and all that probably a right-wing extremist and racist. If Kennedy was around, these are radical leftists. But like I said, that's why all these people, they have you focus on racism and all this nonsense. When they're destroying the country, they have thousands of these illegals coming in. We can't sustain it. And they don't even care about all the rapes going on at the border, all the fentanyl coming in. Even like you said, I'm talking about gangs and all that. That's who supplies the gangs, is these drugs. Eh? So they don't care about all the rapes. There is so many rapes going on at the border. Like I said, human trafficking. They don't ever you'll never hear about a Democrat talking about the human trafficking, the rapes, all that, the fentanyl, all that stuff at the border. They'll never talk about it. So, and that's even another thing that they're doing. That's another thing that they're doing. They want all these open borders, all these illegals and all that to come in, and then they're going to say they could vote, and then you're going to hear it, watch. And then the line's going to be, you're racist if you don't want illegals to vote. For you to say illegals to vote, you're racist. That's the narrative they're going to push. So they don't care about you. They don't care about your family. They don't care about your job. They don't care about none of that. All they care about is power to push their evil, godless agenda. They don't care about America. They want to even destroy America. Look at the same ones pushing all this are the main ones. They hate America. You see them out there? Anytime you talk to any of them, they hate America.
They will never run the flag.
Yeah, they burn the America. I've been on many talk shows where they're saying America is never great, and like they hate America. So these are these same people that you're hearing. They hate America. They're burning the American flag. They're trying to destroy America. That's why they want all these illegals, and that's why everything they're doing is they're even giving them. Look what they're giving them: free room, free health care, free everything, giving them free cards, probably even free phones. Like they have no incentive to even want to try to come the right way. Why should they come the right way when they're coming the wrong way? They're coming breaking the law, and yet they're showering them. They're showering them with all these free stuff and all, and they're trying to act like, oh, we care. They don't care. Eh? If they care, that's actually hurting the legal immigrants.
Yes.
The legal immigrant. Like, that's what I always say is, there's a difference between an immigrant and an illegal. See, you're an immigrant, eh? You're an immigrant. You came the right way. You're like, no, we're cool immigrants. But an illegal is something totally, they broke the law and all that, and they're rewarding them. They're acting like if they care, all that, but it's hurting the real legal immigrants. It's hurting us. They're taking our jobs. They're moving in our neighborhoods. Yes. They're even at the hospitals, all that. It's overrun because there's all this wrong is wrong. They're hurting our people, but they don't care because they hate America. They're just trying to push their evil, godless agenda. But they're Marxists, commies. They hate America.
Bro, so what I know about the Latino community, right? I want to say I know this by living here almost 1.5 years, and obviously from the movies, YouTube, all that. What I know about Latinos, very family oriented, hardworking, godly people. They care about their community. All those 4 things do not align with the Democrat Party. None of them.
None of them. Like I said, it's because they've been using race to manipulate us for far too long. So that's what we do at Lexit. We tell them, stop that. Stop focusing on the past, the colonizers and whatever nonsense. Stop focusing on that past. Stop focusing on race. Because like I said, I already proved it. Trump ain't no racist, eh? Like that's ridiculous for them to try to say that, but yet they ignore when the racism comes from the left, like Obama. I mean, Biden, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. They called us breakfast tacos. You know what I mean? There's so much anything racist from them. They totally ignore it, especially because the media, like all these people, you're puppets. You've been manipulated by the media and all that, whatever narrative that they're pushing, and you're going along with their celebrities from these Hollywood pedophiles telling you to be cool with or whatever racism, then you're falling. You should use your brain. And that's why I even look at so many came out now, like Ice Cube, 50 Cent, and a bunch of, and they support Trump. Like even me, I was an ex-gamer. I used to ex-sureño, all that. I used to put it down for my race. I've been in riots, fights, backing up my race and all of that. And you think I'm gonna support some racist or something like that? It's ridiculous. But you'll have these white liberals telling you what to be offended about, bro.
Bro, do you even realize how disrespectful it is if you run for 10 years as a part Indian and then you switch to part black? That's disrespectful. You just ditch your half a heritage. You say, no, I'm not Indian anymore. I'm black now. How do Indians have to feel about it?
That's
treason.
Exactly. Imagine for those Indians should be mad at that, but even the blacks, they should be like, wake up, Don't you see you're being manipulated?
Yes.
Don't you see that you're being played, That she was before, there's so many videos where even I posted a bunch myself, so look on the Lexit page. There's so many videos of she's right there running on saying she's Indian. Now she's saying she's black, And you guys are falling for that? That you're so desperate and you're so much focusing on race that you're letting them see, you're letting them use race to manipulate you again, to push their evil, godless agenda. Like even like there's a guy around here running for governor. They said Veragosa, but he ran over here before or whatever. He's Mexican. Whatever. I ain't gonna vote for him. I ain't gonna vote for him just because he's Mexican. He's a total leftist. He doesn't have none of my values, none of my godly values and all that. So I ain't gonna just vote for him just because he's the same race. You shouldn't vote because of race, skin color, or sex. You should vote on policies. You should vote on the issues. You should vote on your godly moral values. You should be doing your homework, your research on the issues, on the propositions, all that stuff. Like, again, don't vote on feelings. Don't vote on identity politics. Stop voting on race or the past. That's what they want. They're playing you like pinball. If you are focusing on those things, you should be stop thinking, hey, I've been played. Because don't feel bad, because I was played like that for many years. Many of us were, but you don't just keep getting played. Wake up, say, okay. It's like if you stick your hand in a fire and you get burned, you ain't gonna keep sticking it in there. Okay, they got you, they manipulated you, but wake up now.
But if you got too much pride to admit that you were played, it was like, I'm too proud of myself.
That's too much pride. Or if you're a little bit too much racist and you're just focusing on race, that's the most important thing. You're like, I'm gonna vote for Vergosa because he's Mexican, the first Mexican governor and all that. Who cares? Like, you should have already learned the lesson, blacks, with Obama. He was the most terrible, evil president in history. I see what happened. How did that work? He didn't care about the blacks. What did he do for blacks? All he cared about was for the gays. That's all he cared about, was pushing the gay agenda. So you think that they would learn? They learn like, hey, look, we went last time race, and we look at Obama. He did terrible in there. So wake up. Like I said, don't vote on race. Vote on the best. Who's the best for you, and even for your friends. Like you said, you can even see how the country's is a disaster. The country's going into hell. It's getting all jacked up, inflation, all that. Worry about that. You like paying this inflation? You like paying these gas prices? You like paying this high rent and all? Like, wake up. You like your kids being groomed at school? You like them? You can't even watch Sesame Street, the Disney Channel. They have homosexuality, this and that. You like all of that happening, So stop voting Democrat.
And just take a look at the track record. So yesterday I did my research, and I watched how many Democrat mayors there were in Chicago since 1930s or 40s. All Democrat.
Exactly.
And that's Gotham. That's shithole.
Like Oakland.
like every weekend, dozens get shot in the city, not in the country, not in the state, in the city.
Democrat.
Yeah. And if you the next Democrat is going to be better. Take a look at LA. When was the last time they had a mayor of LA that was Republican? 40 years ago.
Yeah. And then that's what I'm saying. Everywhere. You want me to show you a ghetto or to show you a jacked up area? I'll show you where there's a Democrat in power, and then you'll see it's a total jacked up.
And those are numbers.
Yeah.
No feelings, just straight up numbers.
And what are you guys doing? They're still voting because, like they said, because they told you Trump was a white supremacist or whatever stupid crap. Then so you're being played. You're just being played. Like I said, I woke up, and that's what we tell people: wake up. And like I said, because most minorities have a love for God. Most of them are conservative, like you said. So we go down the list. Why are you voting Democrat if you're pro everything? You know what I mean? Pro God,
pro-life,
pro everything, and you're voting Democrats because of race. It just makes no sense.
A few months ago, I had the Siaka. He's a black guy. He was on my podcast, and he was telling me the story about the civil acts right, how the blacks were fooled. They were just tricked. And that's how they got the black votes for 60 years now.
Oh, yeah, because even the welfare. And
yes,
all that.
because of the welfare.
They even said it, that racist. He said, we'll have these N-words voting Democrats for the next 50 years, whatever.
200.
Was it as
LBJ?
Yeah. He said that, and look, he was right. And look, he's right. Even that alone, imagine if that was a Republican. You think that they would let that go? That's what I'm saying. It's so the hypocrisy. A Democrat says that, and look at, it's true what he's did. They want everybody to be on welfare, to be on they don't want the family. That's why they even have it where they actually pay the women to not be with the father.
Yes.
They're paying them so to break up the family.
Single mothers.
Yeah, that's what, it's all terrible. They never want to talk about that. So that
you know what Ouroboros is? It's the snake that's eating, that's the symbol. The snake eats herself. So I believe that's gonna backfire them as well. Because if the crime rate is so high in the major cities of the US, New York, Chicago, LA, eventually they will come to their neighborhoods. That's for sure. They can't build a wall. They can't protect themselves like that. They're gonna eat them. Just like the same happened in June this year. Pro-Palestine protests, LGBTQ protests.
Terrible, eh? And it's the same ones.
The same thing.
But it's the same people at all these protests. They just put on a different shirt, but it's the same ones that you see.
But eventually they fight. Eventually they fight each other. That's what they do.
They will one day too. But see, the Muslims are just being, because they want them to help them, whatever. So they're being kind of a little bit tolerant, the Muslims. But once if they get their way, the Muslims, they'll start slaughtering and they'll won't have nothing to do with these gays. But these Democrat people, they're like the frog in the pot.
Yes.
You ever heard that?
Yes.
If he's in there and as long as they go slowly, he won't jump out and all that. But that's how all you people that are continue to be going along with these Democrats, you're like the frog in the pot. You're in there and you're thinking it's okay, and it's getting hot and it's going to end up to destroy you.
But bro, gays and lesbians have almost nothing to do with those parades and the pride flags and all those things. Normal gays and lesbians just live their life. That's it. That's all they want to do. If you see the parades, there are no gays and those are perverts. There are creeps with like horses. They dress up like horses with the chains, with this thing. They dress like a dog. What does it have to do with being a gay or a lesbian? Yeah. Nothing.
Just full-blown pedophile. But that even shows how they say white privilege. I say, nah, it's liberal privilege. Because see, how could they let them, just because if they're at a pride event, they're able to be butt naked out there? If me and you right now, if you walked outside naked right now, you would be arrested. But yet they're letting those guys walk around right there butt naked just because.
But if I proclaim myself as a woman.
Yeah, if you say you're a woman or whatever, then the cops will be scared to death and they won't touch you. See how they have it right now? But I blame a lot of this too, brother, on pastors, bro, on the church, because too many pastors are quiet. There's only a few. Like one of the great ones is James Kadish. He's a good pastor. He calls it out. But there's only a few pastors that they're all. That's why even the church is starting to get woke and some churches are trying to accept it and all that, because they're allowing it. All these pastors ain't calling it out. They should be calling it. You see, like I even seen a flyer yesterday that said black churches, they're having some kind of event, black churches for Kamala. How could they allow? They're not supposed to be able to be doing that, but yet our churches so scared to death we can't talk about politics or whatever. But you see these black churches and all that, you see them, the left, having events and all that. They're not worried about, they're not, or whatever, righteous old pastors saying vote for the Democrats and all that. But all ours are all scared, and they should be calling out stuff like me. I'm not even a pastor or nothing. But Lexit, we call out evil and all that more than pastors do, eh? The pastors should be calling it out, telling everybody, like I always say, if we're in a spiritual battle,
which we are,
shouldn't it be the pastors leading the charge? If it's a spiritual battle we're fighting against good and evil. And even the Christians in those days, they were getting fed to lions and all that. They were getting killed. Even the Apostle Peter and all that, they were all getting killed for fighting against the evils of their day. And yet the church right now, they're all scared. They're scared to speak it. They should be speaking boldly, calling it that's wrong, sin. But they're scared, pastors, to be politically correct. There's only a few they'll call it out. What? Like me. I don't care if I'm on CNN or whatever, because they'll try to change it. What did you say about gay? Like you see, Candace Owens did good. They try to ask her. She did good. Hey, that dude Lemon asked her, is it a sin that you saying I'm sin to be gay? She said, yeah, it's a sin. Yeah. I've even heard pastors like Joel Osteen and that other black with TD Jakes, they won't even answer the question. They're like, oh, duh. Instead of saying,
because they're showmen.
It's wrong, it's a sin. Hey, I'm not saying you can't do it. Everybody has free will. If you're gonna, that everybody to each his own. If you're gonna be gay, whatever. But yeah, it's a sin. According to God, according to the Bible, it's wrong. It's a sin. You know what I mean? Like, why can't you say it out? Like, a lot of these pastors are. That's what's going on. That's the reason why.
I believe they just read Matthew 24, and they're just afraid they're gonna persecute it and prosecute it.
Or they're afraid to lose their people or their church. They're afraid that they're gonna lose people.
But bro, they've got the Pope.
Oh, yeah.
He controls
the
100. They control. He controls over 1 billion of Christians.
Oh, yeah. But even he's foul. He was even saying about homosexuality is good or something like.
Yeah, but he said a few weeks ago that all countries should open their borders and invite the immigrants.
Wow, see, he
said that.
Antichrist agenda using him, bro. That's
satanic.
That's evil.
Devil respects the borders, the boundaries.
He want open borders. That's what the New World Order agenda,
yes.
That's what they want. They want open borders.
And I believe he said nothing about the Olympics.
He's foul, bro.
The religious leader of Iran spoke up. He said that was demonic.
Oh,
of Iran!
And he's a Muslim.
Yes. And the Pope kept silent. And what happened this night at the Olympics, we were just talking about.
Yeah.
The guy that pretends to be a woman beats the shit out of another true woman. Where are all the feminists now?
That's what I'm saying. Even like, how are women? But even that, even like these beauty pageants, they're even having men. That's why I told women, how could you women be allowing that to happen? So now they're even saying men are even better at being beautiful than a woman.
They win.
That, like, how could women be putting up with that? That's what I'm saying. All these feminists, that's why anybody, if you have family members or anybody you know these are feminists, it's a total joke. They're a total joke. They're good for nothing. There's another case, perfect example, that they're just using these women to murder your baby. See? And see how the devil is? He's, oh no, it's a choice. See? They're coming against women's rights.
It's your
he's
body.
Telling you, he's manipulating you to murder your own baby, your own child, by telling you that nonsense. See, that's all they really care about. Those feminists, they don't care about nothing else. All they care about is murdering babies. Because if they cared about women and all that, why aren't they speaking up? Even that, like a woman just got beat up in the Olympics. Poor women, imagine these young girls are losing scholarships, all that. They're terrorizing women's sports, and yet not one of you feminists are saying a word about it. That's why they have no credibility. They're all fake, hypocrites. They're a joke. Any feminist, they're a joke.
You know what they should do? So this guy that pretends to be a woman, no coach should coach him.
None.
They should abandon this pervert.
They should. No one should participate.
No one should spar even with him. You want to participate? You want to box with women? I'm not gonna spar with you. I'm not gonna train with you. I'm not gonna even train you. Get lost.
He's a coward.
You got mental illness, bro. You feel like a woman, okay, but you want to go to the Olympics and punch another woman? That's mental illness, bro.
How does society has always been? Man, how does it look if a man beats up a woman, You should never.
That's felony.
It's always frowned upon. That's totally disgusting for a man. But if he says he's a woman, then he's allowed to beat up a woman. Like we've even had it at school. We've posted it where there's even tranny little kids at school, boys beating up girls at schools and all type of things like that. Like they're actually thinking it's okay. That's what I'm saying. And it's such a joke. See how they manipulated the women like that about, it's a choice and women's rights. The same way they're trying to manipulate with this trans. They're trying to act like they're the victims. They're victims and hate and that against when the last 6 or something of the mass shooters have been trannies, So we're scared of them.
Transphobe.
Yeah, you're trying to say from. They're the ones, we should be scared of them because look at they're the ones, look at all these shootings and all this crap that they're doing. But I'll never call a man a woman or a woman a man. I won't play along in their fantasy. I'm a Christian. I'm not going to lie and go along. But that's like if a person's anorexic, right? They're anorexic also, so you're gonna go along with it. Yeah, you're skinny and that, don't eat, be destroying yourself. No, if you get them help,
Yes.
Get them help
by telling the truth.
Yeah, by telling the truth. You don't go along with helping them destroy themselves, and little kids giving them hormones and chopping off their body parts, stuff that's going to destroy their lives. Plus, they don't even know how those things are going to affect them later, their bodies. They're going to probably not live as long and all that. There's going to be later things coming out, side effects, and because that ain't normal to do that to yourself.
And they're saying they're changing the genders because if they don't, they're going to get suicidal.
Yeah.
That's the exact opposite of what I believe is going to happen. They change their gender after 10 to 20 years. They're about to go suicidal because they can procreate, they can do shit. No one cares about them. Democratic Party don't care about them. They don't give a damn.
That's a fact, that mostly all those suicides happen after they change, after they already or whatever. So that kills their argument. Where they're like, oh, you don't let them, then they're going to commit suicide. Nah, most of it is they do that after they transition. They can kill themselves.
You remember, God bless you. You remember in the 1960s there was this thing, lobotomy, how they treated schizophrenia? Now it seems wild, like wild. Those scientists, right? They did this horrible stuff. Lobotomy, they're sticking this metal stuff into your arm and just smacking. I believe in 20 years we're going to look at this transgender stuff and we're like, what did we do? We mutilated kids like that, puberty blockers, chopping off their dicks, breasts, and etc. That's what those people were wild. No, those wild people are us, the society that accept this.
Well, I think it's just gonna get worse and worse, brother. I think it's, like you said, they're not gonna stop, bro. The left's not gonna stop until America becomes Sodom and Gomorrah, bro. It's gonna keep. Now, I don't think it's gonna stop. It's gonna keep getting more and more and more. It's gonna get where it's already probably. I wonder what the percentages of the little young girls and that. Well, they're all most likely bisexual now, and it's bad, bro.
Can you only imagine you being, for instance, 7-year-old? You go to school, and there's this drag queen story hour, and a pervert, a creep, dresses like a woman, shakes his balls up in front of your eyes, and you're just a 7-year-old. It changes you. It changes you. You have no idea what the world is like. The world is like that? What is this creature? Why? That's a man, a woman. Who is that?
Imagine. It's like, so I wouldn't want anybody stripping and dressing like that in front of my child. I wouldn't even want a woman. I wouldn't even want no woman to be stripping and dancing or whatever like that in front of children, let alone some man, right? But then you got to ask yourself, what kind of a man wants to be dancing butt naked or all like that, half naked, in front of little children?
Starts with
what
the
kind
P.
of a man would want to do that?
Definitely mentally ill pedophile.
Pedophile. He's a righteous old pedophile.
And from time to time, surprise, surprise, they get these people from the far left, and they get their laptops, and there is a child porn on their laptops.
How many of them are busted? Yeah, and then they're surprised. But then the media won't even talk about it. You notice that?
Forget about it.
It should be like wall-to-wall coverage. Anytime there's a busted or trans or whatever, being pedophile like that, and the media won't even cover it or nothing, bro.
I hear those stories like, yeah, but the guy was watching the child porn. He wasn't a pedophile. But do you understand what a child pornography is? So someone was filming when the children were raped. Children were raped. That's 50 years in prison, minimum. Maybe even a bullet to the head. That's it.
Yeah.
They're sexual workers. They can't work as sexual workers.
They were trying to pass a law. They were trying to think that they were giving immediate life sentence. Remember something to the pedophiles if they are there was just a law that they were trying to fight it. That they were trying to say that if they do rape a child, that they get a mandatory life or something like that. And the Democrats were against it
Yes.
and all that. Like, why are you, even that too? How are you voting Democrat? Every single time they're protecting pedophiles over children and all that, but yet you're voting Democrat because they manipulating you, telling you race. But so you, because of race or because of the past, you're letting them manipulate you to vote for a party that's over there defending pedophiles, bro?
I believe the question was, is pedophile a felony? Something like that.
Well, how could they vote? They even just voted. It was like 98 of them voted to let illegals vote. And this last one, it was only like 2-3 weeks ago. 98 Democrats voted to let illegals vote. The only reason is because they don't have the House. But that shows you, if they would have had the House,
that's it.
Illegals would be voted and America would be done. So you see what's happening? You see what is going on now? You need to stop this now. Stop voting on race, and you need to wake up and vote on the real issues. It's like, that should tell you everything, that they want illegals to vote now.
Jesse, I'm from Europe, so I've lived for 30 plus years in Lithuania. Then we lived 2 years in Spain. We've been to Germany multiple times, France, Italy, Poland, Netherlands, Norway. You won't find a single place in the whole Europe like Skid Row. It's not a common thing in Europe. You won't find this stuff. It's an American thing.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So that means that other Western societies can live without this, right? There wasn't a thing in the late 30 years ago. There wasn't a thing. 20 years ago, that wasn't a thing. So it means that you can live without those homeless occupying all the area. So you have to make some changes. You can fix that, because prior to that, that was fixed. That was all good, but something has changed. The policies have changed. So that's not a thing in Europe.
Wow.
But it's a common thing here. Chicago, New York, once again, LA, San Francisco. San Francisco, one of the most beautiful places on earth.
I know.
And it's a mess.
It's a mess, bro. That's just Democrat policy. That's why I told you it's insanity. And that's the definition of insanity, to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. Like all these people, that's why always in the comments when I'm posting whatever, like in Oakland, they're like, well, that's what they get, eh? Now they're crying when they vote for that. You vote, like all you people, especially you parents, now you see them grooming your children, now trying to teach critical race theory nonsense or homosexuality. They're trying to teach kids and that. Like they want to teach the LGBT history. Like, is that right? You want to teach history? Then start with Sodom and Gomorrah. Eh? Teach that. To teach what happened at Sodom and Gomorrah, if you're going to teach about that. But like they wait till it's too late. These people, like the big media. But the main thing, bro, the main obstacle is because of the media. The fake media is what's causing, manipulating these people.
So I was talking to a few people here last year. We were gathering by the pool, like, how are you? How are you doing? What's up? Do you have kids? Yeah. And I was telling them, yeah, the school system right here in the US is messed up. Like, how? I'm telling the stories, like, did you see the books where they teach how to do a blowjob, a boy to... What? I'm like, didn't you hear? No. I was surfing through Twitter and I found just a few pages from those books, and I was showing them. They couldn't believe me.
Yeah.
They have no idea there are books in school system that teaches how to do a blowjob, that you can be a gay, you can be a lesbian, you can do this and that, you can change the gender. They have no idea. The parents have no freaking idea what is happening, because they're watching the CNN, they're watching the MSNBC.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
Yeah.
There's this guy, this guy, John Amanchukwu, the black pastor from North Carolina.
Yeah.
He goes to school boards and he just reads the books that there are in the school system, and he gets escalated. Stop, don't do it, that's too harsh, that's too sexual.
But it's allowed in the schools.
Yeah, but these are the books from the school system.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I posted it the other day, but did you see, like, in 1976 or whatever, they read into Congress the Communist Manifesto, what they're planning or whatever. But one of their things was the schools, to get in the schools. And so that's what they're doing. They're indoctrinating the schools. Even like over here in the disgusting LA School Unified District, whatever, they're all disgusting. They're the ones, because I don't know if you've seen, but we had a big old protest at Dodger Stadium. That was, we did it when they were mocking Jesus at the Dodger Stadium. So we had a big rally with thousands, like 5,000, and we rallied out. But they're the ones that got them to change. The LA School District contacted the Dodgers and told them, if you don't let those drag queens in there, that children will die and all that. See, that's the disgusting school district that did that, tricked the Dodgers into doing that. But then you're wondering why all these books and all these evil things that are in there pushing this on school, and it shows you right there, is because all these evil leftist commies are in the school systems, and they're pushing that stuff on schools. That's why parents need to pay attention, and you should be able to know, especially if your kid's like a teen or getting kind of big, if they say any woke crap comes out of your child's voice, like, oh no, well, there's something about gays or any whatever, you should grab your kid right then. What? We don't believe in that. We believe in God. You don't go along with that. Teach your kid to be a leader, not a follower. You let them make sure. Don't assume that your kids know and this and that. Make sure. And then if you do find out the teachers pushing that stuff on your kids, pull your kid out of there, or get them homeschool them, or at least pull them out of that classroom. Say, hey, I don't want my kid with that teacher pushing this, because kids, you're supposed to, like when I was in school, you go to school to learn math, English, history, only stick to that. You don't need to be pushing all this junk on the kids. Even in their classrooms, they have gay flags and this and that. Yeah, they won't let them put a Christ one. They won't let them put a cross.
Or an American flag.
Yeah, or whatever, yeah. But they're allowed to put a gay flag one, whatever. And it's ridiculous, because it's all evil, bro. It's all the New World Order, evil agenda. Bro,
they're getting exposed, especially after 2020. They're getting exposed.
Nothing's happening, change, bro. Like, we all know, people are waking up, people are knowing, but nothing's changing, bro.
Jesse, let's say a few people are watching right now. They're from your community, Latinos, right? Hispanics, and they're like, "Whoa, I've never heard of this guy." Where should they start?
Start what?
Start with the change. What should they do? Should they watch some kind of your YouTube channel, your Instagram?
Oh yeah.
Go to your website.
Yeah, follow Lexit, because that's what we do. We're post all day. We're posting real stuff, real news, stuff that the media should be posting. We're posting, or follow other good conservative pages like that, but turn off the fake media. The fake, like Trump says, they're the enemy of America. That's what they've infiltrated. The New World Order has infiltrated inside of the media, and the media is the enemy of the people. But start doing your homework, start doing your research on all this. But you should be able to tell by like how Trump was just arguing with a black media person. It showed the total bias. Like, she's right there totally arguing and asking Trump ridiculous old questions. Media ain't supposed to be like that. They're supposed to just call it like it is, report the news, be impartial, but they're not like that. The fake media right now, they're terrible.
Bro, the last question on my podcast is always the same. Let's have two assumptions with you. So assumption number one is the President of the United States of America is the most powerful human being on planet Earth. Assumption number two is you become one. You become the President of the US. Once you do so, you've got this Secret Service. They come to you and say, congratulations, Mr. President, we love you. We're on your side. We as a Secret Service, we know everything, right? We got all the answers in the world. You ask us a question, we give you an honest answer. What would be your first question?
Who shot Kennedy? Who really shot Kennedy? Or I'll tell them too, is they need to start releasing all, like, studying and doing all the Bible evidences, because I don't know if you know it, but there's so much archaeological evidence. Like, you could see the real Mount Sinai, you could see the altar of the golden calf, you could see there's so many ancient artifacts, like the Nineveh, the city of Nineveh. Like, nowhere outside of the Bible did they say that. They used to even say there's no such thing, only the Bible talks about. They found Nineveh. Like, there's so much artifacts and all that, but they won't even, like, really even study it. They won't even show it. They need it. That's what they should be teaching in schools and all that. They should be showing all that. But even the Mount Sinai alone, all that shows that the Bible's real, that it's all 100% accurate.
Bro, thank you for everything that you do. God bless you. May God, Jesus Christ, bless you and your family. I really hope that we don't live in Revelation's book right now. I believe we're going to find out.
I'm ready, brother. I'm ready to
in
go.
November.
Jesus to come.
It's going to be a mess. If that's the Revelation's book, it's going to be a mess before it's going to be better. But the mess, what's written in that book is not a fun thing to experience.
I believe in the rapture, bro. So Jesus will take us first before that, brother. So we'll be gone, and then it's going to be bad.
God bless you.